Good evening, welcome to tonight's edition of Quiztatorship, a trivia game that lets you deduct the answers by combining general knowledge with logical thinking. As we progress, the questions will be getting increasingly harder, so let's see how far you make it. Question 1. Jonathan is the oldest living terrestrial animal in the world that we know of. He was born in 1832 and is still with us. What kind of animal is Jonathan? The answer is a tortoise. But if you said turtle, that's okay too. Question 2. This artist recalled that he had been out for a walk at sunset, when suddenly the setting sun's light turned the clouds a blood red. He sensed an infinite scream passing through nature. So naturally he turned that experience into a painting. What is the artwork in question? The answer is Edvard Munch's Scream. Question 3. Macho types wanted. Must dance and have a mustache. What band resulted from that ad placed back in 1977? The answer is The Village People. Question 4. When you do a Myers-Briggs test, the letter E, for example, stands for extroversion, and I for introversion. S stands for sensing, and P for perceiving. What does T stand for? The answer is thinking. Question 5. Espresso, mascarpone cheese, eggs, sugar, rum and cocoa powder are used to make what dessert? The answer is tiramisu. Question 6. What movie holds the record for staying in the cinemas for the longest period of time? That is from 1975 and up until now. The answer is Rocky Horror Picture Show. Question 7. What song starts with the following lyrics? Arise, children of the fatherland, our day of glory has arrived. Clue: the original lyrics are not in English. Oh, and another clue: it is not by Lady Gaga or Justin Bieber. And the answer is La Marseillaise, the French national anthem. Question 8. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. This is the first article in what document? The answer is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Question 9. They were criticized for including Roald Dahl because of his anti-Semitic views. Then they were criticized for not featuring American patriotic holidays such as Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Then for failing to honor the 70th anniversary of the D-Day. Then for honoring Yuri Kochiyama, an Asian American activist who admired Osama bin Laden and Mao Zedong. Then for having a large gender and race imbalance. Then for their inconsistency regarding the implementation of their religious holiday policy. Who exactly was criticized and in what context? The answer is Google, for their Google Doodles. Question 10. Back in the day, data would be saved on punched cards. The little holes in the cards would be read and transformed into codes. If a code needed correction, the programmer would simply send the users an improved punched card piece, and the latter would cut out the old piece and replace it with the updated one. This gave rise to what term frequently used in the IT world today? And the answer is patch. Question 1. In 1925, a con artist called Victor Lustig gathered a group of businessmen in Paris and offered them something that wasn't his to sell. He said that that particular object was soon to become scrap metal anyway. The tender was won by a gentleman called André Poisson, who was desperate to get into big business circles. What exactly did Mr. Poisson think he was buying? And the answer is the Eiffel Tower. Question 2. What female singer was born in 1986 to parents of Italian ancestry, was named one of the most influential people in the world by the Time magazine, and won an Oscar for the Best Original Song in 2019? The answer is Lady Gaga. Question 3. Dalai Lama once said that we can never achieve peace in the outside world until... Please finish the phrase. And the answer is until we make peace with ourselves. Question 4. When scientists first heard of this animal, they thought it was a hoax. They assumed that a venomous animal that laid eggs, had a duck's bill, a beaver's tail, and feet like an otter simply could not be real. What was the animal in question? And the answer is the platypus. Question 5. The other day I saw something on Facebook. A woman was talking about her son, who had told her he wanted to watch The Cheese in Water on TV. It took her a while to realize what he meant. What show was the boy referring to? And the answer is SpongeBob SquarePants. Question 6. In 1999, one famous financial magazine published an article called Yes. What three currencies was the article about? And the answer is the Japanese yen, the euro, and the American dollar. Question 7. You need to complete a quote. Back on the 12th of July 2020, the YouTuber Jenny Nicholson said, "We're gonna have to retire the expression avoided like a plague because blank." And the answer is, because it turns out humans don't do that. Question 8. What food, which all of us associate with the United States, did the Americans call Liberty steaks during World War II, and why? The answer is the hamburgers, simply because hamburger sounded a bit too German. Question 9. There's a painting by an Italian artist called Paolo Veronese. The painting is called The Wedding at Cana. You can find it in the Louvre, and it's sometimes referred to as the most disrespected painting in the world. So the question is, how come the visitors tend to ignore the painting altogether? And the answer is, because it hangs right opposite the Mona Lisa. Question 10. Some of you may know the Burlington Arcade in London. It's a little posh shopping passage on Piccadilly. Now all stores there have a floor above the shop. The question is, back in the Victorian times, what were those rooms on the first floor frequently used for? Except the owner actually sleeping there, obviously. And the answer is they were used for business purposes by ladies of the night, even though it would normally happen during the day. Question 1. What is the term for a sudden, violent, spasmodic, audible expiration of breath through the nose and mouth, especially as a reflex act? The answer is, well, believe it or not, it's called sneezing. Question 2. When someone asks a Scotsman, "Are you a true Scotsman?" what do they mean by that? The answer is, they are asking if the Scotsman in question is wearing anything under their kilt. Question 3. What monarch and member of the Ptolemaic dynasty is supposed to have had relations with 100 men in just one night? I can guarantee you've heard of her. The answer is Cleopatra. Question 4. Johnny Walker and HBO collaborated on a special Game of Thrones themed drink. What was the drink called? The answer is White Walker. Question 5. The Swahili word for building inspired the name of what famous game? The answer is Jenga. Question 6. What was started by Queen Isabella I of Spain in 1478, ended by Isabella II in 1834, and killed 30,000 people? The answer is the Spanish Inquisition. Question 7. A question about linguistics. What could be preserved mainly thanks to doctors and Catholics? The answer is Latin. Question 8. The painter Diego Velázquez moved to Italy, hoping to become famous and successful there. And so, to advertise his services, he would send his servant to the houses of Rome's wealthiest residents. The servant would have a painting with him, painted by Velázquez himself, obviously. Whose face was on that painting? The answer is, it was the servant's face, so that potential clients would see just how skilled an artist Velázquez was. Question 9. According to Greek philosopher Herodotus, there used to be leather armchairs made specifically for judges. A judge sitting in such a chair would never take a bribe. Where was the leather for those chairs sourced from? The answer is from judges who did take bribes. Question 10. Complete the following quote by Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. I have felt many times trapped by blank. It cost me dearly. It won't anymore, because I've come to grips with what it is and where it fits in my life. There is a bit of a clue in the question. As I said, there was a clue in the question. The answer is Star Trek. Question 1. During World War II, a dog named Giuliano defused an incendiary bomb. The question is how? The answer is he peed on it. Question 2. Name the first 3 Mission Impossible movies. And the answer is Mission Impossible, Mission Impossible 2, and you know where this is going, right? Mission Impossible 3. Question 3. What name is Cristobal Colon better known under? The answer is Christopher Columbus. Question 4. The first gas pipes emerged in China in the 1st century BC. What were they made of? The answer is bamboo. Question 5. What comes 3rd in Greece, 4th in Russia, 7th in English, German, French, Spanish and Italian-speaking countries? The answer is the letter G. Question 6. You might straighten your back too quickly and hit your head. When you are rolling around on the floor, you might sustain bruises. You will also bruise your knees. This is why I started wearing knee protection. And even so, your knees become swollen from too much effort. If you cling to the metal with your legs for too long, your inner thighs will start aching. And of course, if you grab it too hard with your fingers, you might break a fingernail. These are just some of the injuries associated with the job. What job is it exactly, according to adult star Jenna Jameson? The answer is exotic dancer. Question 7. What Amazon product was launched on the 19th of November 2007 and cost $399 at that time? The answer is Amazon Kindle. Question 8. What invention was made in 12th century China and had the form of a slab of smoked quartz that you would wear on your face? The answer is sunglasses. Question 9. Van Moof is a Dutch manufacturer of bicycles that ships bikes per post. In 2016, they started putting the picture of a TV set on their boxes. The question is, why would they do that if they sell bikes and not TVs? The answer is, because their bikes would often get damaged during transport. And so they realized that with a picture of a TV set on the box, the delivery guys would treat the package more carefully. Question 10. The Armenian chess master Ashot Nadanyan described this famous site as a sword of Damocles hanging over tourists' heads. What is the construction in question? The answer is the Tower of Pisa. Question 1. On the 10th of November 1951, Sir Hugh Beaver, at that time the managing director of the Guinness Brewery, went hunting. At one point, he became involved in an argument over which was the fastest game bird in Europe, the golden plover or the red grouse. He realized that there was no way to verify that. What publication resulted from that little incident? The answer is the Guinness Book of Records. Question 2. Today, the British drinking song To Anacreon in Heaven from the 19th century is largely remembered for one reason and one reason only. Its music was reused for a different song altogether, a patriotic one, this time in the United States. Can you guess the song in question? The answer is, yep, Star Spangled Banner, the US national anthem. You're welcome, dear Americans. Question 3. Who am I? I was born in Oklahoma in 1940. When I was 18 and served in the army, I was stationed at an air base in South Korea. There, I saw Korean soldiers practicing martial arts, so I decided to join them. The result was, I became a karate guru, opened my own school, made friends with stars like Bruce Lee and Steve McQueen, had a movie career spanning over 5 decades, and wrote 2 memoirs. And the answer is Chuck Norris. Question 4. The tides would be much smaller, about 1/3 of what they are now. Creatures like crabs and mussels rely on the tides for survival. There might be confusion among land animals, especially predators, which might even result in their extinction. Worst of all, the tilt of our planet would get out of control, from no tilt, meaning no seasons, up to extreme tilt, meaning extreme seasons up to ice ages. What have I just described? The answer is, I've just described what would happen if the moon disappeared. Question 5. Who said, or rather wrote, the following? Alfred Noble, pitiable half-creature, should have been stifled. While this seems like a bit of a random question, it isn't. And the answer is Alfred Noble himself. Question 6. In August 1883, there was an explosion on the island of Krakatoa near Java. The explosion was about 13,000 times louder than the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima. In fact, it was the loudest sound in recorded history. But what exactly was that explosion? The answer is, it was a volcanic eruption. Question 7. Complete the following quote by American artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. Art is how we decorate space. Blank is how we decorate time. And the answer is music. Question 8. What makes up 3.5% of the ocean? Clue: it's not plastic. And the answer is salt. Question 9. One day, the International Table Tennis Federation decided that it was difficult to watch ping pong matches on TV due to the speed of the game. The problem was, one simply couldn't see the ball because it was flying way too fast. How did they solve the problem? The answer is, they slightly increased the size of the ball. Question 10. On the 7th of May 1824, Beethoven kept the chorus on stage for a whole hour. They had nothing to do and just stood there. But once they finally got to sing, what did they sing? And the answer is, they sang Freude schöner Götterfunken, commonly known as Ode to Joy, from the last movement of his 9th symphony, which premiered on that day. Question 1. Complete the phrase, a dog's blank is 1,000 times greater than that of a human. The answer is sense of smell. Question 2. The Eskimo people have 180 words for what? The answer is snow. Question 3. Complete the following quote by Charles Darwin, not necessarily word for word, but you do need to get the gist of it. It is not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that blank. The answer is, it is the one that is most adaptable to change. Question 4. Astronauts are supposed to spend 2 hours a day doing what? The answer is exercising. Question 5. When shooting the Netflix show The Crown, the producers realized that Olivia Colman, the actress who portrayed Queen Elizabeth II after Claire Foy, had something that would potentially have to be corrected digitally to avoid an inconsistency, as well as historical inaccuracy. In the end, though, they decided to leave it as it was. What was the inconsistency in question? The answer is, unlike Queen Elizabeth and Claire Foy, Olivia Colman's eyes are brown. Question 6. There used to be a cage in the Bronx Zoo that was labeled the most dangerous animal on Earth. What was in that cage? The answer is a mirror. Question 7. According to a former director of the British Museum, there is a certain category of employee, and the less you feed those employees, the better they work. What employees are those? The answer is cats. Question 8. The lipstick, the big pants, the sponge, mini-me, the armadillo, the mummy, the Pringle, and the scalpel are what? The answer is names of famous buildings. Question 9. On most airlines, when flight attendants bring food for both pilots, what is the one rule they must always follow? The answer is, the pilots must eat different meals in the event of food poisoning. Question 10. What did the old Phoenicians call the Earth's heartbeat? And the answer is the tides. Question 1. The last time that all human beings were together on Earth was on the 2nd of November 2000. The question is why? And the answer is, well, that is because after that, someone has always been aboard the International Space Station. Question 2. A question about the American actress Liza Kirk. When someone talked to her about other people, she considered that person a gossiper. If they talked to her about themselves, she considered that person a bore. Now, what kind of person did she consider to be a great conversationalist? The answer is anyone who talked to her about, well, her. Question 3. Why do the Japanese sometimes pretend to be sleeping at work? And the answer is, that is to show their boss that they had been working hard and need to rest. Apparently this sort of thing is a completely normal occurrence over there. Question 4. There was this marketing executive who was tasked with advertising a soft drink in Saudi Arabia. He came up with an ad that consisted of 3 posters. On the left one, you would see a man dying of thirst. On the one in the middle, the man drinks the product. And on the right one, he is happy again. The question is now, why did the marketing guy end up getting fired? And the answer is, because in Saudi Arabia, they read from right to left. Question 5. What legendary rock song did music critic Alan Jones describe as a superficially impressive pastiche of incongruous musical style? And the answer is, yep, it was Bohemian Rhapsody. Question 6. According to 7% of all Americans, where does chocolate milk come from? And the answer is brown cows. Yes, they genuinely believe chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Google it if you don't believe me. Question 7. A prisoner who had spent a lot of time in solitary confinement reported that when he was in his cell, he would scatter breadcrumbs on the floor so that mice would come out and eat them. The question is, why did he do that? The answer is, this was to prevent himself from going insane from loneliness. Question 8. Complete the following quote by hockey legend Wayne Gretzky. A good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where blank. And the answer is where the puck is going to be. Question 9. Imagine you fall from a certain height. Not high enough to kill you, but high enough for you to potentially injure yourself. Now, from a purely medical point of view, in a situation like that, why is it helpful to be drunk? And the answer is, when you're intoxicated, your body is more relaxed, so that when you're rolling down a hill, it's less likely that you will tense up and break a bone. Question 10. The 2 biggest ones in the world have 16. The 3rd biggest one only has 15. What exactly is that 3rd one? And the answer is, the 3rd one is American Express, which has 15-digit card numbers, unlike Visa and MasterCard, which have 16 digits. Question 1. Citius, Altius, Fortius, faster, higher, stronger, was the original motto of what world-famous event? And the answer is the Olympic Games. Question 2. What can be found in 1 out of every 1,000 chicken eggs? The answer is 2 egg yolks. Question 3. One day, theater impresario Sir Rudolph Bing was confronted with a rather serious problem. The Metropolitan Opera in New York was putting on a production of Tristan and Isolde, a 3-act opera by world-famous anti-Semite and composer Richard Wagner. The problem was Ramon Vinay, the gentleman playing Tristan, had fallen ill. Both his understudies were feeling equally under the weather. The opera was long, and none of them was feeling strong enough. The question is, how did Bing solve the problem? The answer is, each of those gentlemen agreed to play the role in 1 act. Luckily, the piece only had 3 acts. Question 4. What film had the tagline, "Protecting Earth from the scum of the universe"? And the answer is Men in Black. Question 5. There was this millionaire, John Roscoe, who was the driving force behind the construction of the Empire State Building. One day, when he was discussing the project with his architect, William Lamb, he explained what he wanted by holding up an object that can be found on most desks, at least in those days. What was the object in question? The answer is, it was a pencil. Question 6. There is a rise in domestic violence of up to 50% when what kind of event is broadcast on TV? The answer is, unsurprisingly, this happens when there is football on. Question 7. London has had it since 1863, Chicago since 1892, Budapest and Glasgow since 1896, and Paris since 1900. Boston, Berlin, Athens, New York City and Philadelphia followed. Those were the first 10 cities in the world to have it. The question is, what is it? The answer is an underground system. Question 8. It is red in 68 countries, green in 40 countries, and blue in 84 countries. What is it? And the answer is the passport. Question 9. Karl Lagerfeld once posed for an ad. He was advertising a piece of clothing that, as he admitted himself, didn't go well with anything, but was a crucially important one nonetheless. What was the piece of clothing in question? And the answer is a high visibility vest. Question 10. What company was established in 1986 by a lady called Jenny Merrill, together with her husband Jerry and their sons Jim, Matt, Chad and Ben? By the way, there is a giant clue hidden in the question, you just need to find it. And the answer is, don't feel bad if you didn't get this one. Look at the question carefully. It was Jenny plus her husband and their 4 sons. 5 men. So the answer is of course 5 guys. Question 1. The name of what programming language is also the name of an island in Indonesia? The answer is Java. Question 2. The longest one in history lasted for 781 years. The shortest one only 40 minutes. What am I talking about? The answer is war. Question 3. According to the American psychologist Dale Carnegie, what is the most precious word to each of us? And the answer is our name. Question 4. Who was Victoria's Secret named after? And by the way, you really need to have an open mind for this one. And the answer is, the name was meant to evoke the class and refinement of the Victorian era. Therefore, the answer is Queen Victoria. Question 5. A question from the music industry. You need to complete the sentence. 51.5% of blank die a violent death. And the answer is rappers and hip-hoppers. Surprised? Question 6. A bootleg Chinese DVD of what movie features the following text on its cover? Spaceship people get up from sleeping coffin and have eat. Computer woman find strange noisings on planet and astronauts go to seeing. Astronauts find big elephant man who dead, then find too many egg. The answer is Alien. Question 7. According to Anton Chandalavey, the founder of the Church of Satan, who has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he has kept it in business all these years? The answer is, well, I already gave you a clue. It's Satan. Makes sense, doesn't it? Question 8. After oil, what is the world's second largest polluter? The answer is fashion. Question 9. What does John Denver compare to a shelter, a window, a cloud, as well as an ocean? The answer is love. The song in question is called Perhaps Love, which he released in 1981. Question 10. According to a popular view, there are 7 arts: music, sculpture, painting, literature, performing arts, film. Now, what art is missing? Clue. You need to think a little bit outside the box there. And the answer is architecture. Question 1. Why did the entire Pixar staff have to take a class in marine biology? The answer is because they were doing research for Finding Nemo. They conveniently left out the part where his dad would have turned into a female shortly after his wife's death. Oh well. Question 2. There's this Chinese proverb: an evil man never forgives and never forgets. A naive man always forgives and always forgets. What does the proverb say about a wise man? The answer is, a wise man forgives but doesn't forget. Question 3. Clueless and Batman and Robin star Alicia Silverstone has never done a nude scene in her entire career. And yet, in 2016, she decided to make an exception and pose naked for a series of posters for a non-profit organization. One of the slogans said, "I'd rather go naked than wear wool." Can you guess the organization in question? And the answer is PETA. Question 4. John D. Rockefeller would always use trains to transport crude oil to his refineries, until the two biggest train operators in the country stopped working with him. How did he solve the problem? And the answer is, why, he started building pipelines, of course. Question 5. What item of clothing, or rather an accessoire, is named after a fly in German and a butterfly in French? The answer is the black tie. Question 6. When shooting Emmanuel in Thailand back in 1973, the Dutch actress Sylvia Kristel had to appear in some extremely intimate, not to say explicit scenes. At one point, before shooting the infamous episode in the garden, she was so nervous that she asked for some time to compose herself. To help her relax, a local went and fetched her something called Thai sticks. The question is, what exactly are Thai sticks? The answer is, Thai sticks are cigarettes filled with substances that I perhaps shouldn't mention on YouTube. Question 7. Why is an asteroid called an asteroid? The answer is, asteroid is Latin for like a star. Question 8. The name of what biscuit is also the name of a locomotive, and a game, and an opera? The answer is the Mikado. Question 9. How many Africans did the famous missionary David Livingstone manage to convert to Christianity? The answer is 1. And even that guy didn't stay a Christian for very long, choosing polygamy over the Bible. Question 10. The Romanian composer and conductor Sergiu Celibidache once said, "You simply cannot press magic into a pancake." What exactly was he referring to? The answer is, he didn't like the fact that people chose buying vinyl records over going to concerts. Thanks for watching. You don't have to like or subscribe or anything like that. But then, it's just one click, right? I would appreciate it. Check out the channel for more videos like this one, and have a peaceful night.